Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Sunday, November 10th, 2024. So, on a Sunday that is almost surely, a Sunday, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And did it leave you with a sunny disposition?
It certainly did.
Oh, good. That makes you different from many of the people who've been writing into wordplay.
No kidding.
Yes, because this crossword was by Sam Ezersky.
Yes, it was. And I was scared. I was scared, but I got through it. It took me a little longer than it usually did, but I did get through it.
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned about it as well. Not nearly as concerned about as the people on Wordplay, who again are sort of treating this as like Armageddon.
Oh my!
It's hard to tell which is worse, Armageddon or a Sam Ezersky puzzle. But I thought it was fine.
What did they like about it?
I don't know, everything. Pick any clue that was hard, and there would be objections to it for one reason or the other. Okay. They objected to words like, 122 across, mailing info, informally, Addy. Some readers wrote in to complain that they shouldn't have used the word Addy.
What should they have used instead?
I don't know. It had to work with that was 99 down, like convertibles, sporty.
Right.
I think Addy is sort of a fun word. It's like, can you send me your Addy? So I thought 119 across was a brilliant clue. Last of 5 rhyming Greek letters. So it made me, for once in a very long time, actually write out the Greek alphabet so I could study it. Because at first I thought it was beta. Because I had beta, and then I had theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu. Let's see. So I thought it could have been theta, because there would have been beta and theta and eta. And maybe one more, but that wasn't. But they were actually looking for the ones that rhymed with the psi type sounds and psi, which is what this one was.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. And they complained about the theme. The theme wasn't engaging enough.
Oh, I thought it was quite clever.
I think there's just a bunch of Sam Ezersky haters out there.
Oh,
now
Sam.
It is true that my streak died on a Sam Ezersky Saturday.
Oh.
But to be fair, I gave up on Friday night, which was a horrible mistake. I mean, I'm falling asleep and saying I give up. It's just like, try in the morning.
Yep.
So, and in fact, I had to do the same with this one because I had the grid all filled in last night and couldn't figure out what was going wrong.
Oh.
And then I took a look this morning and 105 across, backdrop for a memorable kiss. So last night, it seemed perfectly reasonable to me that Alrar was some sort of an island somewhere where people would go and pose like in weddings, and they went to the island of Alrar.
How is that spelled?
Just like it sounds, A-L-R-A-R.
Alrar.
Alrar. And, oh no, actually it might have been Alawar. It's hard to tell because, you see, 114 across, and this is one of the themed answers, someone shouting that maybe you try fixing your apartment. I had the answer being Heroes Super. Oh. And so I guess it was it was actually A-L-O-A-R as the backdrop. And in the morning I looked and said, Alawar. The more critical neurons in my brain were awake and just screaming at me. Also, 110 down, the nickname for Francisco, I had as P. It's pretty bad when I'm losing it trying to tell my own mistakes, but I'm gonna try and work my way through here. PRCO, I decided was the abbreviation for Francisco, and last night I'm like, fine, I can live with it.
How do you pronounce that? Prico. Prico.
Well,
Prico. My son, Prico.
I actually hadn't gotten that far in my deliberations. All right, I'm going to try and compose myself now. Deep breaths. Anyways, and again, this all came about because I looked at the word. I had HE, and I had the word super, and I went for heroes super, which sort of ties into the theme. I couldn't let go of it last night, and yes, and I looked at it this morning, and I thought, PRCO, what is that? And anyways, it turns out that the nickname for Francisco is Paco.
That is correct.
Which, to be honest, isn't much better than PRCO. Have you ever heard of anyone named Paco?
Well, no,
Have you
but
ever
I've
heard of
never heard of
anyone-
anyone named Francisco either.
I mean, the only thing I could think of was the city, but I don't think anyone ever says, "Hey, let's go to San Paco," instead of San Francisco. So, anywho, so I had a lot of trouble there, but like I said, in the morning, I was able to get through it.
Well, I did this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So, and I had just come from a fish fry.
Oh,
So I was well fed, and it was a miserable day here in northeast Wisconsin. It was raining and kind of cool, and so it was
perfect
just
crossword weather.
perfect crossword weather. So yeah, I dug in and got it done. So,
Well, that's good.
and in terms of the theme, I thought it was kind of clever. And I'm sorry some people didn't like it, but the name of the puzzle was From Start to Finish. And that really doesn't give you much of a clue to what the theme is, but it does make sense once you figure it out.
Right.
The theme clues were common phrases with the words inversed so that they answered the clue. And of course, the clues were very punny, question type like clues. So the first one was 23 across, which was 6-inch or foot long. And the answer to that was a standard sub, which if you've ever gone to Subway, you know that those are the standard sizes, 6-inch or foot long.
Right.
Which is the inverse of the common phrase, which is substandard. So standard sub.
Right.
And right next to that, we had 25 across. Who might tearfully wonder, were we just not meant to be? And that was pensive X. I thought that one was kind of funny. Instead of expensive,
Yes.
it was a pensive X.
Yep.
So that was the theme, and some of them were very well. Some of them were quite long, like 42 across was buy in the round before going all in, and that was penultimate ante instead of penultimate.
Which I did not recognize as a phrase. I certainly recognize expensive and substandard. But what's an anti-penultimate?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Another long one that you probably have heard before was 87 across. Something in a doom scroller's feed, and that was apocalyptic post instead of post-apocalyptic.
Yes, that I've definitely heard of.
Yeah. So anyway, those were the theme clues. There was one that I'm sure you got right away. 112 across. Eye doctor, and that was Vision Pro instead of Provision.
I didn't even realize that was part of the themed. It was one of the themed answers.
Oh, yes.
Because as soon as I saw Vision Pro, I just started thinking about Apple products and was distracted.
You'd like that one. But no. Provision was the common phrase, but Vision Pro was the answer to my doctor. So, and the one you mentioned was 114 across. Someone shouting that maybe you should try fixing your apartment, and that was heated super instead of superheated. So, anyway, there were a few others, I think, but you get the idea,
right? Yeah, so basically, if you just read the clue and solved the clue as written, you would get the answer as written. It just happens that if you swap words, they make another interesting phrase.
That's right.
Okay. I did, among the many things, I always learn something doing a crossword. Yesterday I learned that I'm not really sure how to spell apocalyptic.
Well, I kind of had that same problem, but I took a stab at it. I checked it later, and I was right. So I'm like, okay, I will keep moving on.
Oh.
So,
No, I put it in, and then I was like, it wasn't apocalypse now, it was apocalypse
I
now.
know, but
So.
it's pronounced, but it's got an O in it.
Well, there's one O, yes,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I knew about that one. It was the letter after the C that was sort of a mystery to me. Is it apocalyptic? Apocalyptic. You may recall the other day I was having trouble with Neil, if I should spell it with two E's. Although at least
Or
there
an
I
A.
had, right. But there I had a body part to sort of help me. Whereas apocalyptic, there are no body parts in there as far as I can tell.
Right. But and it looks funny when it's all spread out, one letter in each square. It just doesn't look right. But
Well,
yes,
Sam might be willing to fix it with a rebus.
no, that's
Be
okay.
careful what you ask for.
So
Oh, another one that was cute, 70 across. And 70 across was next time try reading the clue or stick to Sudoku. And the answer was solving dis
yes,
as opposed to dissolving.
right.
That was also quite nice.
Yeah, that was a funny one.
But there were several places where I was just like, no idea. Like 69 down, Blank Domingo, Best Actor nominee for 2023's Rustin. So I do a quick count, and if it's less than 30 years old, I'm not going to know the answer. And this was 2023, so it turned out it was Coleman.
Coleman, yes.
And that M ran into 84 across NYC-based sports channel. I'm like, seriously? So I was feeling seriously Natick there. In fact, that's where I ended up. Because I couldn't believe that MSG, which it turned out was the answer, would be the name of a sports channel.
No.
Let's name ourselves after a food flavor enhancer. Didn't make any sense.
I wonder what it stands for.
Wait. Now I see Madison Square Gardens.
Oh.
But it says sports channel. Maybe they have their own channel?
No, I think they're meaning channel as, area where something takes place. Yeah. So.
I guess. Seems like a bit of a stretch. But that gave the M, that M then turned Blank Domingo into Coleman Domingo.
Right.
Were you aware of the name Coleman Domingo?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't remember it. But I remember the movie Rustin. And,
Really? What was it about?
Well, it's about, he was a civil rights activist with Martin Luther King.
Oh.
And so, but anyway, I had the COL on it. Is it Colin? But then I'm like, no, I think it was Cole. I got the A and the N. So I thought, I know that's right. It was Coleman. So yeah, I remembered that, but not right away.
See, I thought it might be Colton. That also sounded like something that would be a good name.
Colton?
Colton. Coltan.
Oh,
I mean, bit of a stretch, but
right.
There are a lot of things happening in the grid. Another one that I wasn't sure of, I started off, I think, with the wrong language. Opposite of maigre, and that was gras, Gras.
Yes.
Is that Spanish? Or is that French?
I think that's French.
Because
Foie gras. And then.
well, I'm not. I mean, maigre. Does that mean meager? I'm very embarrassed. I don't know the answer to that question. But I like the one next to it, by the way. Flat floater raft.
Yep.
That was pretty tricky. Let's see. 74 across. Yellow green soft drink per the stylization on its packaging. I went for mellow initially, as in mellow yellow.
Oh.
But it turned out to be Mountain Dew, spelled MTNDEW.
That is the way it is spelled on the bottle. Oh.
And beneath,
Can.
right, or any other container that you can keg, stein, who knows. 78 across, JZ's Magna Blank Holy Grail. It was Magna Carta Holy Grail. That must be interesting. I'm assuming that's music?
Rap music.
Rap music? Okay, that's a song, Magna Carta Holy Grail?
apparently.
Okay. I plan to go listen to it.
I know, Jay-Z's real name is Carter.
Carter?
His last name is Carter. So
so
maybe that's kind of a takeoff on his name.
I see.
Maybe. I don't know. But I was like, oh, what could that be? And it turned out to be Carta. The first word was Magna, and I'm like, oh, what could it be? Oh, Magna Carta. So
98 across, features of 2 Super Bowls for short, overtimes,
right.
Abbreviated as OTs.
OTs.
Okay, let's test your encyclopedic knowledge of Super Bowls. Which ones were they?
I don't remember, but I know the Chiefs were in at least one.
Really?
I think, last year was, they had an overtime.
Okay, so
I can't remember. They did say when they had an overtime before, but I don't remember. But yeah, last year the Chiefs
That's okay.
won it in overtime.
I didn't even remember they were in the Super Bowl last year, so you're definitely up on me.
And they're on their way to this year's Super Bowl.
Don't jinx them.
Doing quite well. So.
9 down was blended hair coloring effect, ombre.
Mm-hmm.
I presume that's correct?
Yep, that is correct.
I found that to be a bit of a challenge.
Well, do you know what ombre is?
Yeah, it's sort of a mean varmint out in the wild, wild west.
No.
Hey, get that ombre away from me.
Ombre, that's where you have colors that they kind of gradient down to, they're just variations of one color, and they kind of gradient down as you go across whatever palette they're on. So with hair, it'd be like, it'd be kind of light right at the top of your head, and then it would get a little darker and a little darker and a little darker as you get to the end of the hair. So that's what ombre is.
So it's a synonym for expensive.
I don't know how they do ombre hair. But
however they do it, they're going to charge.
Yeah, no doubt.
Another one that I found very tricky, East Coast convenience store chain, Wawa.
Yes.
I think we've had that one before. I don't think that's a debut. And I remember thinking that at the time there was sort of a weird word. And so I wrote down Wawa and thought it was right, but
for 50 down.
But I was certainly suspicious of it.
Well, I had no idea. I had to get that from the crosses.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else was. Figure that's roughly 6 times less on the moon, 61 across. That was weight.
Yep.
And yes. 45 down, Park City resident was UTAHN.
I know, that was an interesting way of spelling it.
Yes.
UTAHN.
Well, how else
I wanted to put another A in. UTAHN. Not UTAHN. UTAHN, that's what it looks like.
I think it should be Newtonian, but maybe not. Maybe that's a type of physics. That might be Newtonian.
Perhaps. Yes.
Let's see. Dog park figure was owner.
Yeah, that was kind of I don't know, let down. I was trying to think, owner, a dog park figure. So.
Sure, it's someone in the dog park, and they're an owner.
They're an owner of the park or the dog. That was my first question.
Oh,
no, I'm
perhaps
sure,
you should
it means the dog.
Perhaps you should get on wordplay and write a few nasty notes.
No, I got it, so I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. 11 down, dance move requiring upper body and core strength, the worm.
Yeah.
That was sort of cute.
Uh-huh.
And again, people were complaining because they used the word "the" in it.
Oh.
But you wouldn't just call it a worm.
No. I don't think so.
And there was an interesting collection, 78 down, former French President Jacques, and that was Chirac.
Right.
And then right next to that, 74 down, artist Chagall was Mark.
Yep.
So that was sort of the French Quarter.
That's right.
Or
famous Frenchmen.
Maybe the French 132nd, because those were only 2 clues out of many.
Uh-huh.
101 across, sure thing, dear, was yes, babe. That took me a bit.
I just think that somebody who said sure thing, dear, would probably never say yes, babe. But But I guess it works in the puzzle.
I believe it. I believe it. 104 down. Nice to blank you. Online salutation. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
That caused much gnashing of teeth on wordplay.
No kidding.
Yep. Apparently, you're not allowed to meet people.
Meet people.
Yes. Let's see. I think there are quite a few very interesting clues here. I think we've got most of the key ones here.
No, but yeah, I thought this was a very enjoyable puzzle. Maybe just because it was a great puzzle day, and I was doing it on a lazy Sunday afternoon when I had nothing else to do. So
I liked it because it was a Sam Ezersky puzzle that didn't destroy me. I lived to tell the tale.
Well, very good.
All right. Well, that is it for today then. So thanks everyone for listening.
Yes.
Remember, we always appreciate it when you give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on. And please do something to make this go viral. We would love that. And we'd also love feedback. crosswordpodcast@icloud.com. That is it for today. We'll be back again with our cutting edge analysis of tomorrow, aka Monday's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.